Hello, thank you for watching my video. We're going to talk about the introduction to linear equations, linear inequalities, and their symbols. So most of you remember when you were younger that you all had some kind of math, and they told you something about x is greater than 4, and then you were required to draw some kind of number line. Okay, and so you drew a number line and you had 0 in the middle, usually 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let's see, make this a little bit different. So we have, let's say that this was 4, and we had 5, 6, 7, and 3, 2, and 1. And so someone told you, I need you to show me all the possibilities of x. And so your job was to circle 4, because that's the point it gives you, and then you were going to shade all this, and you would shade this. Okay. And they told you that this was an inequality, and it is. And then they might have said, oh, well, also I need you to graph x is less than or equal to 2. And so you would circle 2, but because it's got this little bar on the bottom, it can also be 2. And so you have to include that point also. Okay, and you shade all that in. So linear inequalities is sort of, this is just a one-dimensional, and this is I'll draw a little arrow there, one-dimensional. This is a one-dimensional problem. And in algebra, we come into a place where we have two-dimensional problems. Okay, and it might look something like y is less than or equal to 4x plus 2, or y is greater than negative 2x plus 1. Okay, and so these are both linear inequalities, and they're pretty much just the same thing you did when you were little, with just one more variable in there with a y. So now we have x and a y. This is a lot like saying to your friend, hey, I want an M&M, but I only want blue ones. And so your friend opens the package of M&Ms, only picks out the blue ones, and then gives them to you. This little thing right here is like your statement of only wanting the blue M&Ms. And so if you organize all the stuff that you can learn about symbols, especially for algebra, into a chart, for me it makes it easier to see. And so I'm going to go ahead and make you a little chart and kind of try to explain. So we have, let's see, you'll have to forgive me, I'm kind of making this up as I go. So I've got to put this there, and we got this one. Oh, I lost it. Alright, we got this. Alright, so we're going to call this side the symbol. And I would go ahead and encourage you to write this. And so we have some symbol like that, greater than or equal to. We have just regular greater than. We have less than or equal to, and then just, okay. And then let's see, we need some columns here. So let's do that. Goodness. Okay, and we got this one. Alright. And so we have our meaning here. And let's see. So the greater than equals, this means greater than or equal. Okay. Sorry, it's hard to write this. And we have just regular greater than. We have a less than or equal, and we just have a regular less than. Okay, and so I did my best to write those out. And let's see, when we were in the lower grades, so in lower math, we had various symbols for them. So this, as you can see here, we have less than or equals to was a shaded and then to the left, and so we can just go ahead here and say it was kind of a darkened circle to the left, okay, like that. And of course we have the other one, we have x is greater than symbol, so the greater than symbol, which is here, and that's a kind of a circle then pointing to the right, as you can see here. And let's see, and so if we had the same one, greater than or equal, so it's the same just like the bottom, except it's shaded in because it can also be the point in question. And then we have the bottom one, it's just like this one, except that it is hollow because it cannot include the point that it's on top of. It cannot be this point here too. And the same for this one, it cannot be this point. It can be every other point that way, but not this one and this one, so it's hollow. Okay, and so when you get into Algebra 1, really, it's not really that much more complicated. Let's go ahead and get a different color out. I'll do yellow. Okay, so it's not really that much more complicated. It's just a solid line, okay? It's going to be a dotted line for anything with an open, so anything without the bottom line, so just the greater than or the less than. And it's just going to be a solid line again for the top. And so as you can see, this isn't very complicated at all, and this wasn't actually necessary. But as you can see, it wasn't very complicated at all. And Algebra 1 symbols are actually more simplified. So if you had an equation, let's say like this, let me make it interesting, less than, let's say x plus 2. And so I made that simply so that I could graph it for you. So I'm going to make a little table. And let's say I need some points. So let's see, negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is just 0. Let's see, I need negative 1. So negative 1 plus 2 is just 1. 0. 0 plus 2 is just 2. Let's say 1. So 1 plus 2 is 3. And then let's say 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay, so I have a little chart here. I can go ahead and graph this. Uh-oh. Okay, got that one. Need some points. So I'm just going to use 2 points. I'll use this one and this one just because they look simple. So 0, 2, that's 1, 2 right there. And we have 1 and 3. So 1 over 1 up 3, so that's about right there. And as you can see, I'm going to have some kind of line that does this. Now, remember that this sign right here means less than, and less than right here, look like this, dotted line. So that means I have to make this thing dotted. And I can do that. Let's see if I can just reverse this color. And I can just go, okay, dotted lines. So now, the way this is, we still need to kind of shade one side of it, because remember back when we were younger, we had the shading like this. Well, in linear inequalities, we have to shade one side or the other. And to do this, what I've always found it easiest to do is to pick a point. And so I pick a point that's obviously on one side or the other. And so this point right here, very obviously, is on this side, and it's 0, 0. And so this point, 0, 0. And then I'll plug the 0, 0 in to the inequality here and see if it works. So let's plug in 0, 0. So we've got y is greater than x plus 2. And so we got this point 0, 0. So 0 is less than 0 plus 2. So 0 plus 2 is 2. Okay. So is 0 actually less than 2? Yes, it is. So is 0 less than 2? That's your question. Yes. So that is the side that you will shade. And that is the intro to graphing linear inequalities and their symbols. Thank you for watching.